Cheers.
To video games.
To video games. Welcome to Less Than 3.
Well, this is Juxtaposition.
This is Juxtaposition. Alright. Welcome to Juxtaposition. Let's try it again. Welcome to Juxtaposition.
Welcome to more beer.
You want to intro it?
Welcome to Juxtaposition Competition, where we take two games that are very similar in nature and we compare them.
So here we have Inafune's Mega Man X and his newest release, Mighty Number 9. We didn't get a physical copy.
It services it flawlessly.
Yeah, so you guys get it. We got Mighty Number 9 and we've got Mega Man X.
First impressions, I think, is a really good one.
I mean, with Mega Man X, they do a lot right. The intro level is absolutely genius. It does teach you how to play the game. I played through, because unlike you grew up playing side-scrollers. I have one side-scroller. I was Sonic the Hedgehog. And, I mean, fuck you.
Sonic 2 handles stubborn stains, embarrassing bald spots, no problem. It even slices and dices, makes thousands of julienne fries.
Anyways, I didn't grow up with any other, like Mario. I didn't have Mega Man. I didn't get to grow up in a household with that. I went pretty much from a Genesis to an N64. So my only experience with 2D games was Primal Rage and Sonic the Hedgehog, save for anything that I rented. So I kind of suck at these. I really kind of suck at Mega Man and Mario and things like that. I played through this completely without knowing the dash button was A. I reached
Did you just
Sigma.
double tap?
Yeah, I reached Sigma doing the double tap.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
There was, and watching people like Caleb Hart and stuff do that. That's how I thought they did it, double tapping the whole time, which is why I thought it was even more impressive. But besides the point, the game was challenging. It kicked my ass. It was difficult, and in the end, it felt very rewarding. And that's me not growing up on platformers and sucking at platformers. With this platformer, it felt fair, and it wasn't horribly... It's just good. It was just a good game. The atmosphere felt good. Getting power-ups felt good. The powers felt relevant. Actually using them to beat different bosses in order. Not using the boss's weakness against it definitely changed the entire game.
All right. Let's break it down a little bit. Let's break it down a little bit piece by piece. First of all, the start screen. This has a start screen. This game doesn't have a start screen. When you boot the game up and you start your new file, it immediately cuts to story. Right away, there's no start screen, there's no nothing, there's no press start, there's no anything like that. And maybe that's too old school, but fuck that. Games use that all the time.
Well, the problem is too, the story's kind of jammed. I
don't give a shit. I'm big on stories and characters and immersion, and I'm not saying Telltale games. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Telltale games, but not that kind of story. But I mean Deus Ex, where the story you're I need to know what's happening, and I need to figure it out, and I want to be in this universe.
Right.
But this game doesn't really have a story, and that's great. The story would slow it down, aka this game. This game has no story.
The thing of it too is that it has a good character motif, and the motif is getting stronger. Mm-hmm. And the nice part about
story I need, really.
Yeah, and the whole ideology behind it is good guys, bad guys. You're not powerful enough to beat the bad guys. Get powerful enough to beat the bad guys.
Yeah.
And that's where it comes together. Mighty Number 9, on the other hand, starts out by automatically saying, humankind has seen peace for generations because technology has made the world a better place. And if the violence has been confined to an arena, and there was going to be a fight until one day, ... and then cut to the city burning down because fuck all.
Oh, okay. I skipped it.
Yeah, and
it said that the first piece of dialogue in the game was present day today, and I hit start. I was like, okay, done. I don't care. I do not care. Skip. The intro stage. It handholds you. So basically, it says press X to jump, and it's you don't say. Okay.
Don't explore the control.
Yeah, don't. No. I'm gonna slow down a little bit. X to jump, square to shoot, blah 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 blah. you could just figure it out on your own. It's not that hard to figure out traditionally, because this falls in the tradition of this, where squares shoot, X's jump, and, well, the dash button has changed, which is actually a good thing. I compliment the dash button being R1 as opposed to A, because that's just kind of awkward. But anyway, the problem with this game is that it unlocks your moves as it teaches you what they are. So you cannot dash until the game tells you you're allowed to dash now, here's how you do it. This game is like, okay, ready? It literally says, ready, start, go.
Not only, like you said, it keeps you from using inherent moves to you, but it just forcibly interjects story every 2 seconds. Like, you start the game, go! Story time. And literally, the minute
Giant
you
text
set in,
block.
you're talking to Dr. White, and he's just talking.
Can't skip it?
No, it's an in-game cutscene that you can't skip, and those are deplorable. But
Dr. Light.
Dr. White, yeah, and there's Dr. Blackwell and Dr. Wiley. I don't know where Blackwell came from.
Well, it's the opposite of White.
And Wiley's opposite of
But
White.
Dr. White, I don't know, dude, who cares?
Oh, then there's probably some twist that we haven't gotten to, because I'm going to be honest, I haven't beaten this fucking game.
Never care about ever.
I haven't beaten the fucking game.
Alright, so the intro stage. Learn the buttons. The intro stage as well. One of the first enemies you're introduced to is the enemy that drops the crushing thing. And it's a terraforming enemy. So it's like, hey, if you don't kill this enemy, not only will it hurt you, but it'll change the environment around you. This basic enemy has the power to change the way the environment dictates itself. You're fucked. Immediately, the game is better than you. Like, challenging wise. Like, it sets you up to where, like, we can change the environment around you and this basic enemy can do it. You better kill it quick or you're gonna fall off the edge. That's genius.
To give Mighty Number 9 some credit, it does do that in certain scenarios, especially in the first stage when you fight Pyro.
It's just got these giant things in the background that fall. The enemies don't change.
Honest to God, I wasn't even going to say that. That's a whole other monster we'll tackle later. But with the flame enemies, there's oil on the ground. The oil introduces you to slipperiness, and then it can catch fire with the enemies.
True.
So it does have some changing,
which is cool,
environments with them. The downside to that, in my opinion, is that it's not like a once-off, like, you know, oh shit, there's oil on the ground, like I better be careful of fire enemies, you know, for the time being or I'll take massive damage. It's, no, there's gonna be a fire enemy because there's only 3 different enemy types around here. It's gonna light it on fire and it's just gonna slowly do damage to me over and over and over. There's been tons of times where I've been trapped in a pit just on fire and I'm slowly getting killed. And at that point, I just pray for an instant death because I'm like, this is obnoxious. And it's taking the point where like my invincibility frames aren't toting me long enough to get back to a ledge, or the moving platforms are too spaced out to the point where I can't get back to them. Plus, there's enemies moving unhindered in the fire, which are knocking you around and makes it so you can't see yourself.
It's even harder. And like they impede your movement speed so you can't run out of it. And honestly, that brings up the greatest flaw in the combat in this game, or the traversing the environment, is that there's no wall jump. There's no wall jump. In this, the entire game, the thing about this game is there are 2 inherent things that have been different through all the Mega Man games, which is dashing and wall jumping. All of the boss fights and most of the game is centered around those 2 mechanics. And those 2 mechanics are amazing, and they work so well. This game, removing wall jump, leaves you only with dash. And 50% of the game is cut out. You can't have vertical segments anymore.
In addition
you
to
can't.
that,
It's impossible.
I feel like, and we were talking about this earlier, dashing in this game is a much more core mechanic, and it really detracts from just about everything else.
Because you can infinitely dash throughout the air.
Not even just that, but it's like, you have to dash into an opponent to kill them quicker. Your buster is not a useful...
It's not the most useful thing in the world.
It's not a
You have to weaken them with it.
It's not a versatile tool. And then, like a lot of people were saying, and I tested it myself, and you saw it, the cryosphere, where you just substitute that for your buster, because why not?
Right.
You freeze them and you dash through them and they die. It takes...
And then you get more charging energy back defaultly. In this game, they have to drop the little blue orb, which refills your sum a little bit. This one, if you dash through an enemy, you get stuff back, which will easily refill it at a surplus.
It wins the points!
Yeah.
Oh my god,
and this game shouts at you like, great job! It's like, did you have to shove it in my face?
Good! Good! Good!
I'm aware that I did a great job because I passed the level.
And there's
That should be enough.
Just like numbers popping up, 100%, 100%, 80%. It's like, dude, who cares?
It's confusing the shit out of me. Like, I stopped caring what those meant. I didn't even bother to try to learn. I'm like, great, moving on. I got 100%.
High scores were crucial to arcade culture back in when it existed. And I mean, it's nice to have that for online, but realistically, who are you getting the scores for? Like, if you die in the level, your score pretty much gets set back to 0. And so you just lost all those points. Like, who gives a shit? If you're sitting around and you just want to play Mighty Number 9 for Mighty Number 9's sake, and you know you're trying to get the high score, at the end of the day, it's not something that's very satisfying. It's just, hey, I got through the level, I killed all the enemies without taking any damage, I 100%ed all of them, and I didn't die. Cool.
Even if I did that, I wouldn't give a shit.
It's just not.
Mega Man just says, hey, kill this enemy. Move on. Move on. That is your goal. Your goal is to move forward. And it's not even an oversimplification. That's the goal, is just to move forward. And then they give you the tools that help you move forward or up, whatever. Move you in the direction you're supposed to go. And the tools that they give you help you in that journey. Whereas this game, you stop. Your power, the firepower, you stop. The enemies, you stop, you stop, you stop. Everything halts you. At the beginning of a boss fight, when in Mega Man, when you glide through the little spinning doors and they open and they close and you have that long stretch, when you glide through the next door, it doesn't stop and then cut you to the next thing. You glide through it. It's almost like a little pseudo loading screen.
Right.
But in Mighty Number 9, when you reach the boss room, it cuts, and then you move into the boss room. It's a sharp cut. And it moves you over.
It cuts into a cutscene.
It does, and I don't care. Like, that's the thing. Like I said, I'm big on story. I'm big on characters. I love to write. For a future career, I want to be a writer. I want to write characters, and I don't give a shit. I really don't, because you're forcing me to enjoy it. You're forcing me. You're forcing characterization. Whereas in Mega Man, when you fight Mega Man X, when you fight the Vile, for example, at the end of the level, the characterization is you're weak. He is stronger than you. Get stronger. It didn't need to say, Mega Man, you gotta get stronger. Because game, Zero's like, hey, you're not that strong, but you will be. It sets up for the rest of it. It makes you feel inspired to grow stronger. It's not telling you, hey, you need to go stronger, or you won't be able to win. It's like, grow stronger, feel powerful, and then move forward.
And a lot of things...
I'm inspired. That, without characterization, barely any characterization, simple dialogue, and through gameplay you teach characterization. That's what this game does. That's what this game doesn't do.
Well, the thing about this game, too, is it spoon feeds a lot.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's forcing so much stuff.
When it comes to actually talking about characters and how they interact, I feel really bad for the voice actors, because they did a phenomenal job. All of them sound like they're in a goofy, like, 80s anime cartoon.
Yeah.
And it's just silly and it's fun, and that's what it kind of feels like it was going for, and it really missed its mark because it just really does kind of force that down the throat.
Jiminy! Atta boy, Beck! Come on, Will. Show a bit of enthusiasm.
And I recommend this if you're ever going to play this game for some reason. You go into your options and cut out the little text bubbles that pop up, because it genuinely impedes your progress. When you're at the Pyro fight, for example, he has voice cues. It's like, I'm going to punch you, so you know he's about to punch you. Well, when the little message thing pops up...
When he hits 50%.
The game cuts out his audio cues. So now, it's just someone silently running around, and you don't know how are you supposed to dodge it if you don't know what he's about to do? He doesn't have a tell. Because it just cut it out.
Because Beck is having a conversation with Dr. White.
I don't care.
Very important.
I don't care.
Beck is trying to talk
but I'm gonna die.
Boss battle.
That's the problem.
Beck is trying to say, hey, Pyro, stop.
If Dr. White wants me to take down the numbers and get them back, impeding my progress to do that is counterintuitive. I'm gonna die because you won't shut up about how important it is that I don't die. Like, not only is it a blatant contradiction, but it's like, dude, I'm trying to accomplish my goal, and you keep forcing me to understand how much it's important that I accomplish my goal. It's like, dude, I'm gonna do it. Just leave me alone. Let me accomplish my goal and shut up. And that's the problem. It's like forcing me to do so many things. Unlocking my buttons slowly because I can't figure out all my buttons on my own. And then speaking of buttons,
let's talk about gameplay.
the R2 and X button combo where you do a jump thing backwards, and then if you press R2 and this is on a PlayStation, obviously. R2 and square, you do a back jump as well. And
I've never even known.
What fuck? Because it serves no purpose. That's the thing. Mega Man X, you walk forward by holding the forward button. You dash by pressing the dash button. You wall jump by pressing the jump button. And that's all you need to fucking know. You don't need these crazy dual button combinations and spinny circles and forced dialogue to know what you're supposed to do. Because everything serves a purpose.
Yeah.
In this game, you press X and square and it does you press R2 and square and it does a completely useless attack. It's like you stop your forward progress, you jump backwards and shoot a couple of lasers, and the area of effect is about this far in front of you. So if they're right in front of you, you did a great job, but you could also just shoot them.
Yeah.
As opposed to just press a button thing. Maybe
for style points.
Yeah, but I say maybe you feel like a stylish motherfucker, but ultimately it does not.
It doesn't help anything.
It doesn't make you like forward progress. It doesn't help your forward progress. It just makes you feel cool. But you know what makes me feel really cool? When I beat a really hard boss. I feel cool as fuck. When I beat a really hard level, I feel cool as fuck. Because I just beat the thing that I was supposed to be beating. That's enough. That is enough. This game, minimalistic in your goals, objectives, controls, very minimalistic, and holy fuck, does it nail it home on every single point that I can possibly think of.
Well, even when it comes to like weaponry, you've got the ice cannon in the ice shotgun in Mega Man X that not only can freeze, but it can also bounce off of surfaces.
Which is so useful.
And it makes Boomer Quanger's level from a living nightmare to something that's manageable.
Oh my gosh, because the shield enemies, this brilliantly designed enemies. Ooh.
Hammer Joes.
The Hammer Joes, there you go. They have a shield, and they have a wall behind them. Their shield is impenetrable, and they throw this giant mace out. They throw their mace out only when you get close enough, and the mace absorbs your bullets. So you're like, what do I do? Well, if you shoot the wall behind them, because there's always a wall behind them, with your ice power, it bounces off the wall and kills them. And you're like, oh my god, I used this thing, and I did the boom, and I get the kill.
You got to test around and play with it.
And it
Mighty
worked.
Number 9, you've got a useless power on your first level, and an overpowered power for the rest of the game on your second level. Because with Pyro, man, that is just the most underwhelming fucking
And you're
thing.
tired afterwards, you have to stop to catch your breath.
Well,
it's like, bro, seriously? I just want to play a game?
It like, the whole game is feels like Mega Man meets Sonic, and it's all of the worst elements of both. It's like,
Sure.
Gotta go fast, but hold on, because everything that you try to do to go fast, like, puts the brakes on it.
Everything. Switching your powers from Buster to augmented power, you stop,
Yeah.
a little animation happens, then you start. Mega Man X, down, it switches it without you. You barely even notice. You barely even
change
notice.
color.
It makes a noise, you have an audio cue, and you change
You
color.
see the bullets coming.
And it's like, wow, look at that. Simple, it didn't stop my forward progress, it didn't say, hey, you're switching powers, like this game does. It's like, switch powers, okay, good, switch powers. You can chain them together a lot easier. It's smoother and fluidly. It doesn't say, hey, stop. This is what you're
Hammer
doing.
time.
Yeah, it's just obnoxious. It's
In
stop,
addition
stop,
to
stop.
that, the level design in this
Boring,
game.
uninspired, not intuitive at all. Besides the beginning of the electric stage.
The electric stage.
The
was
first
a lot of
half
fun.
was designed by one person. The
It was-
second half was designed by a dumber person.
I feel like the electric stage was the first level that was designed, because it was the whole time that I was watching you play it, because we were just going off on this game. When the electric stage popped up and you were playing through it, we both shut up.
We did not talk.
We didn't say a word,
I
because
noticed that
it
too.
was actually like, oh my god, this is really well
I
done.
feel, wow.
Yeah, like
Wow.
it feels like it's built around your ability to dash and
Yep.
set up enemy combos and things like that. Like, if you want to have the game where dashing is your primary, your go-to, and like that's how you kill enemies while you stun them with your Buster, then that's fine. Like, it's the same thing with Sonic, and it's been the problem with those games is that when you have a mechanic and you fall in love with that mechanic, but you don't design your game around that mechanic in terms of
doesn't
level
make any
design and
sense.
enemy placement, it's gonna suck.
It's silly. Like, granted, the firepower helps you in the ice level.
It helps you in the final boss.
Yeah, and honestly, even in the ice level, it's not like...
No, it's not.
All it does is destroy the tower things, which, who cares?
Yeah.
You can just shoot them with your Buster. Whatever.
It honestly,
Why
it
would
just
you-
it just makes it go a little bit quicker.
But while you're stopping to use the power,
Right,
it stops
because
you.
you
of course.
gotta explode.
You gotta
Gotta
stop
release
to
that
explode,
flash
Yeah.
once.
You know what would be really cool if you could dash and then press the explode button at the same time and explode while you dash as opposed to stopping.
I feel like the game developers did test that, and they're like, "Oh no, that's too overpowered. We gotta take that back." And it's like, well, here's the thing, man. If you're gonna give the player overpowered abilities or abilities that feel overpowered, compensate.
You make the level
You're
harder.
exactly. You're the fucking game designers.
You make the level harder. You make the enemy a little tougher. Does not mean give them more health. Holy fuck. Harder does not mean more health.
In addition to that, we've got power-ups that you collect throughout the
Little
game.
buster
Little orbs.
that they force you to use. You can't turn them off and on. It's on a timer. Well, the red buster that pierces through enemies, you can only have 2 or 3 buster shots on screen at one time. The problem is, in some situations, that's counterintuitive, because when you want to speed shoot an enemy, you can't, because you can't turn it off. Your buster, you can speed shoot until your heart's content, or you can switch your weapon, you switch your power, shoot your ice power, shoot your fire power.
Because this one pierces. And I didn't
Exactly,
thought about
and I thought that was neat, but the problem is you can't turn it off. If I was fighting a boss, for example, and you know when you're fighting a boss in any Mega Man game at all, because you can only have a couple of buster shots on screen at one time, you want to power shot the fuck out of that guy. When you have the red power up, you're not allowed to do that. So you start the boss fight with a deficit that you didn't choose. By playing the game, you start the boss fight with a deficit, not a bonus. That was a big problem that I had. It's maybe a small thing to a lot of people, and that's okay because realistically it is small. But to me, it was such a glaring problem is that you forced me to come into this boss fight with a deficit because I earned this deficit. And that's the thing. It's not like I got, sapped and like I'm bleeding out and I can't quite shoot my buster at the same
Yeah,
way.
you
It's
picked
like
up an item.
success brought you defeat.
Yeah.
And you can't do that. That's not okay. You should at least be able to turn it off. Or maybe my suggestion, I know suggesting how you should fix a game is something that I try to avoid at all costs because I wasn't there, I'm not on the design team, I don't know what everyone was thinking.
But
ultimately, if you could save your red power up, save it in a little capsule, you could pop it and turn it back off.
oh yeah, those things.
That would be cool.
Consumables are something
Yeah.
that's nothing new to them.
And then when you absorb an enemy, it refills your gauge. And maybe that's a little bit too much to manage with your buster upgrades or power-ups or augments, but ultimately, it's better than forcing me to use this power-up that I may not want, especially on a boss fight, which you do not want it on a boss fight. No boss fight facilitates 2 buster shots at once.
Yeah.
Because you can't charge it up. This is one of the most important points that I would like to talk about, is that you can charge your buster in this game. Charging your buster...
Yeah, that's a personal note for me, too. I felt very... Just playing this game... I didn't mean to cut you off. Playing this game right after this, like, I found myself, like, just very... like, longingly holding the button down
me too.
to try and charge the buster, and it's like, nothing.
I
No.
need that.
Yeah, they force you to use them, they're on a timer, and in addition to that, they don't tell you what they do. I mean, we're all smart enough and you can figure it out yourself. But there's at least 4 of them that we've encountered. And there's a green one, there's a yellow one, there's a red one, and I found a blue one.
I don't remember.
The red one gives you piercing
That's
shots.
the only one I remember is red.
The yellow,
It serves some sort of random
the yellow
purpose.
one is damage reduction, I think, because
Cool.
it's a shield. And then the green one lets you speed up in terms of your movement.
right. Which
And another thing that this game
grossly
does...
unnecessary, if you don't mind me saying. So this game, if you just press the R1 button, you speed through the whole level, and most of the time you can do it relatively thoughtlessly. Making you go faster serves almost no purpose. The term learning curve, I don't feel like it's the most appropriate word, but it's like this. This game at a default level is mindlessly mindless. Like you can play through the game, press your buster, press dash, and then that's it, that's the whole game. There's not too much to it. You don't have to pay that much attention. But then you have these segments where it's like,
If you go too fast, you're going to hit your head on the wall.
You hit your head on the wall, you fall down a pit, you run into spikes. There's a horrifying, massive spike in difficulty where the game says if you fuck up on this part, you will die. There's no learning. It's just... and that's the whole game. This game is like, you got your peaks and your valleys. You got a peak and a valley. And then when you master it, you got more peaks because you're like, I can reach higher heights and it gets harder. But then you just have to master it. You're like, okay, okay, I'm in this.
Especially when you get to test out all of your different powers and things like that.
They make
And
the game.
They can help, make or break a situation.
Absolutely.
Like Armadillo's armor can really help a situation. Boomer Coiner's ability can give you such an edge in certain fights.
And it can also get you items.
The octopus rockets are almost one of the most overpowered things in the game because they can track enemies. But none of that's going to save you when you fight Pyro and he goes his next stage and he grabs you and self-destructs and kills you instantly.
One shot kill.
What the fuck happened?
Bro.
That's
the spike in difficulty. Huge quotes are on difficulty. That's the spike.
It's unbelievable because Dr. White and Beck are having their stupid little conversation, and I'm trying to listen to the audio cues that Pyro has, and out of nowhere he does this new attack where he grabs me and blows up, and I lose all my health and die.
And you busted out laughing.
And that's the end of the fight, ladies and gentlemen.
That's it.
We can all go home.
Play with fire.
Okay, let me just say this really quick. We are attacking this game with all of our might, and it deserves it because this game did more than a lot of things wrong. But I will say this: they tried.
Oh yeah,
they tried, and then let's take the conversation in that direction because I don't want this to be a witch hunt. Even though this game is vastly superior in almost every way, but still, this game tried. It was started on Kickstarter because they love
Inafune loves his baby.
They do, and that's okay. It's not a soulless cash grab like Star Wars Battlefront, the most recent one, which is just Star Wars is becoming popular. Here's going to shove a game out there. Well, the second one's already in the works. Here's $90,000 of DLC, which is just like 3 maps and 2 skins or whatever it is. And just some completely irrelevant shit where it's about sapping you of your money. This game is like, we love our series.
It's $20.
Tried.
It's
$20. And that's like hey, it's not as good as Mega Man X, and I think they might recognize that, which is why they tried to go in a different direction with it. They tried...
Well, definitely after the critical reviews they did.
Okay. Sad.
Yeah. And then Inafune took full responsibility for what happened.
Right, and that's the thing. Love. This is the most important thing. Love went into this, love went into that.
And unfortunately, where it does stand, it does also kind of give Kickstart backers a perspective that might not be recognized.
How so?
Where you've got these developers, these big names. You've got Kojima stepping away from Konami. You've got Rare working on their spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie. You've got the new Castlevania spiritual successor being worked on as well. There is a chance that they won't be the games that you want because they are trying to recapture their glory. And one way or the other, you might be disappointed, but you have to be willing to ask yourself, am I going to pay for something that's mediocre and comes out every year? Or am I going to take a risk, try something new, and if it's good, it's great. And if it's not so good,
it's a love project.
It's still a love project. Mighty Number 9. I mean, mediocre scores sweeping the board,
and that's what it is.
It is right there in the middle.
6.5 hours later.
This is a love project.
Yeah.
And
I'm glad it exists. I am glad it exists.
I don't hate it.
Me.
Recommending it is very difficult for me to do. I in good conscience, you really have to support Mega Man and Inafune at your core to want to get this game, because from somebody who's just an outsider looking in, it's not all, comparatively, it's not all that good. By itself even, it's just kind of hand-holdy. It's
not challenging, which...
There's a lot of artificial difficulty built in. And ultimately, it's just, it could have been a lot better. People were expecting a lot better.
Yeah.
As per Egoraptor's icon on level 3 or 4, whatever level it was, in the background. You can see his Grump logo.
I can't remember. But the truth is, it was a valiant attempt. I think the biggest problem with it is the game is a little bit too easy, in the sense that, it doesn't craft itself to try to kill you. And I think a game should craft itself to try to kill you, not
unfairly.
No, not unfairly, but like I said, this game, the enemies don't stagger
Right.
because they're trying to kill you. It's making it harder. This game,
Like, ultimately, they want you to succeed, whereas in this game,
it,
they want you to succeed,
They
but they're
kinda
going to
like-
use one-hit kills in order to stop you from achieving victory.
they kind of give you like this like path that you basically you don't carve your own path in choosing how you defeat the enemies. You kind of like follow this path that they have set before you.
Again, it's handhold.
Very handholdy, which is unfortunately a testament to modern game design. Modern game design is very handholdy, and it's for a purpose because you're trying to invite non-gamers into the gaming realm.
And fuck them. I mean, thank you so much for watching.
I mean, yeah, that's the truth, though. That really is the truth. Like, pressing buttons on a controller, anybody can press buttons, and when you press a button, you'll remember what that button does, and you put the pieces together to
It's
form
repetition.
beating the game.
Yep.
And anybody can do that. You have to let people, and that's the thing that, like, Dark Souls, that's what Dark Souls does well. It lets you figure shit out. Bloodborne lets you figure shit out.
Those are the modern Nintendo hard games.
It's true, though.
and people
like,
are trying to emulate them now because they realize there is still a market for them.
And it's appreciated. But closing thoughts.
Closing thoughts.
Worth playing. I don't recommend buying it. If your buddy has it,
Use it.
play it.
Use them.
I agree. This game,
Hey, bro, I got Mighty Number 9. Okay.
exactly. Give it a shot, especially if you played Mega Man X or any Mega Man game, but especially Mega Man X. If you played it, you gotta play this to understand the
What they
juxtaposition and why this game did more things right, especially in comparison to this.
And if you're not a platformer fan, this game is definitely not for you.
No.
If
It
you
doesn't
are
make you love
if you're
it.
not a platformer fan, Shovel Knight's for you. And
Oh gosh.
Mighty
Play
Number
some
9 is
Shovel Knight.
not for you.
Play some.
But thank you so much, everybody, for joining us here on the Juxtaposition Competition. I am Nathan.
Bro,
Very
and I'm Adam making
cheers.
Lord Iron.
Fuck! Have a good night. Thank you again.
Oh fuck.